that he ran 5 grams of testosterone alone, plus other anabolics. But in general, the most common testosterone dose among athletes, testosterone, the father of all anabolic androgenic steroids, the foundation of muscle growth, strength, and confidence. It is the most widely used anabolic androgenic steroid in the world, from medical treatments to performance enhancement. But here is the thing, testosterone is not just another anabolic steroid. It is the backbone of every cycle and the gold standard for muscle building. And whether you are using it for hormone replacement or performance enhancement and physique goals, there is a lot you need to know about it. So, in this video, we are going to break down everything about testosterone, its history, medical uses, and unique properties. We will also cover its different esters, their half-lives, and how they affect the body. Additionally, we'll explore its role in bodybuilding, including real-world dosages, benefits, potential side effects, and what you can expect when using it. We'll also talk about its effects on mental health and sense of well-being, and of course, when and in which phases should be used. So, if you are a bodybuilder, an athlete, or just curious about testosterone, this video will cover everything you need to know about the king of all anabolic androgenic steroids, testosterone. And now, let's start with the history and medical usage of testosterone. The first synthetic testosterone was described in 1935. Then, just 2 years later, testosterone propionate was developed right here in Germany by the pharmaceutical company Schering under the brand name Testoviron. Propionate is just the type of ester attached to testosterone. Originally, testosterone was prescribed to treat low testosterone levels in teenagers and adults, as low testosterone can cause low sex drive, erectile dysfunction, delayed puberty, fatigue and lack of muscle development, or low bone density. But here is something interesting. Testosterone was also used to treat women. Back then, it was prescribed to women suffering from menopause and excessive lactation. And for a long time, testosterone propionate remained the most common version worldwide until 1960. That is when new esters were introduced, which we'll discuss in the next point, which is the structure and characteristics of testosterone. Testosterone is the chemical or generic name, while it has many trade names on the market. Also, testosterone comes in many different forms because it is attached to different types of esters. I have to make one thing very clear. Testosterone always acts in the body in the same way, regardless of the type of the ester attached to it. That means no version is actually better than the other. The only difference is the type of ester, and the ester determines how fast testosterone is released from the injection site to exert its actions in the body. It also determines the half-life of the hormone, and that means the injection schedule must be adjusted depending on the esters used. For example, testosterone suspension. This is pure testosterone with no ester attached and has a half-life about 24 hours. That means it acts immediately in the body, but therefore it requires daily injections. Another one is testosterone propionate, one of the shortest esters and has a half-life of about 48 hours. So, it releases quickly but requires injections every other day or less. There is also testosterone enanthate, which is a longer-acting ester that has a half-life for anything between 5 to 8 days. So, it should be injected at least twice a week to maintain consistent blood levels in the blood. I know some people may say that in the medical field, testosterone is often prescribed once per week or even every 2 weeks. And yes, I totally get that. That is how doctors do it for patients to make it easier to adhere to this injection schedule. But here I am talking about the optimum usage and how testosterone is commonly used in bodybuilding and for performance enhancement purposes. The next ester is testosterone propionate. It is very similar to enanthate and have a very similar half-life, about 7 to 8 days. The last one is Sustanon 250, which is the blend of different esters to provide both fast and slow release. It includes 10 milligrams of testosterone propionate which is a short-acting ester, 60 mg testosterone for both phenyl propionate and isocaproate, which is a medium-acting esters, 100 mg of testosterone decanoate, which is a long-acting ester. In general, each ester serves a different purpose, but in the end, testosterone is testosterone. The androgenic anabolic ratio of testosterone is 100 androgenic and 100 anabolic. The androgenic effects are related to male characteristics. Things like deepening of the voice, increased body and facial hair, oily skin and acne, or even aggression. On the other hand, the anabolic properties are the effects that support muscle and tissue growth. These include increasing muscle mass by boosting muscle protein synthesis, improving bone density, and helping the body recover faster from workouts or injuries. All anabolic androgenic steroids have both androgenic and anabolic properties, but the ratio varies with each compound. The ratio is always compared to testosterone, as it is the most balanced anabolic androgenic steroid when it comes to androgenic and anabolic properties. And now, let's discuss the side effects of testosterone. Testosterone is the primary male androgen, responsible for secondary male sexual characteristics, and therefore, its androgenic side effects are very common, especially at high doses. These side effects include increased oily skin and acne, increased body hair growth, or accelerated hair loss in men with a genetic predisposition. So, testosterone is not a suitable drug for women due to the high risk of virilization symptoms. Testosterone is converted into dihydrotestosterone when it interacts with the 5-alpha reductase enzyme. This enzyme is found in high amounts in the skin, scalp, and prostate. DHT is a much stronger androgen than testosterone, and it can increase hair loss, acne and oily skin, and prostate enlargement in older men. Taking a 5-alpha reductase inhibitor like finasteride can reduce some of these androgenic side effects to some extent, but it cannot completely eliminate them. Also, these drugs come with their own side effects, and they can impact the overall results that you can get from your cycle. So, while finasteride may help reduce some of these androgenic side effects, it will affect your overall performance and gains as well. Now, when it comes to estrogen-related side effects, testosterone does aromatase into estradiol when it interacts with the aromatase enzyme. When estrogen levels get too high, it can lead to several unwanted side effects, such as increased body fat, gynecomastia, or water retention, which can lead to high blood pressure. And there are several factors that determine how much testosterone aromatizes into estrogen. First, the genetic response. Some people's bodies aromatize more than others. Also, the body fat percentage plays a big role. Higher body fat increases the aromatization process since fat cells contain more aromatase enzyme. To control the estrogenic side effects, aromatase inhibitors like Aromatase, which is also known as anastrozole, can be used, or a suicide inhibitor like Aromasin, which is also known as exemestane. These drugs reduce the aromatization rate and lower estrogen, which can prevent side effects like gyno and water retention. But AI should be used wisely, because crashing estrogen can also cause serious problems, including joint pain, low libido, lack of energy and mood instability, lower HDL, which is the good cholesterol, and reduce the ability to build muscle, as estrogen plays a big role in the muscle building process. Also, instead of only relying on AIs, you can also adjust your cycle design by adding DHT derivatives like primobolan, masteron, or even equipoise, which is not a DHT derivative but can lower estradiol levels. These compounds don't aromatize and can help control high estrogen levels when combined with testosterone. But of course, you have to keep in mind the total anabolic load you are on. For example, if you are running 1 gram of testosterone, you shouldn't just add 1 gram of primobolan to control estrogen and justify it, because now you have doubled your total anabolic load, and that comes with other problems. Instead, a smarter approach would be to reduce the total testosterone dosage and replace part of it with primobolan or another DHT derivative to help manage estrogen. Regarding the effect of testosterone on cardiovascular health, testosterone will have a negative impact on cholesterol levels, just like all other anabolic androgenic steroids. But of course, not in a significant way like orals. Testosterone will 100% reduce your HDL to some extent, even only on TRT doses. But from what I have seen, it doesn't raise LDL like Anavar does. So, your diet should be strict, avoid trans fats, supplement with healthy fats like high-quality omega-3, eat enough fiber, aim for at least 10 grams of fiber for every 1,000 calories of your diet, and of course, doing cardio is highly recommended. And when I say cardio, I don't mean just doing steps, which is great by the way for increasing caloric output, but it will do nothing for your cardiovascular health. If you really want to improve heart health, you need to include actual cardiovascular training. You might even consider adding HIIT training. So, steps are fine for burning extra calories, but for real heart health, you need to push your cardiovascular system with structured cardio training. That being said, even if you do everything right, diet, cardio, supplementation, that doesn't completely eliminate the cardiovascular risks in the long run. This is more of a harm reduction strategy. Before we get into the next point, which is testosterone suppression, I have to mention something important. YouTube doesn't like to promote this type of content, so we may not see each other again. So if you found value in this video, let me encourage you to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you get notified when I upload the next video. That way, you won't miss the upcoming videos. And now, let's talk about testosterone suppression. Testosterone, like all other anabolic androgenic steroids, will suppress your natural testosterone production, and after several weeks of use, your natural production will be completely shut down. Now, when it comes to recovering your natural testosterone production after a cycle, you have two routes to go. The first option is to do PCT after your cycle to help restart your natural testosterone production. Some people may say that you can recover without PCT and that PCT is not necessary, which can be true. However, I recommend to play it safe and run PCT to avoid the risk of a delayed recovery, which may take a very long time. And experiencing low testosterone after a cycle is a terrible experience, both physically and mentally. Your energy levels will be low, your mood will crash, and your gain that you made on your cycle will disappear due to the lack of testosterone production. Now, the other route is to stay on TRT, which in my opinion is actually the better option, because after years of cycling on and off, most people will end up depending on TRT anyway. So, instead of dealing with hormonal crashes and inconsistent recovery, TRT provides a stable solution for long-term hormonal balance. If you would like me to do a separate video to go in depth about the pros and cons of PCT versus TRT, write PCT versus TRT in the comment section below. Regards testosterone effects on mental health and sense of well-being, testosterone is really an amazing compound. When it comes to mood and mental health, you feel like you are on the top of the world when you are on testosterone. It increases your motivation to go to the gym, it enhances your mood, and it boosts your confidence. Of course, this when doses are moderate. If the dose is too high, you might run into issues. Some people say testosterone makes them aggressive, but honestly, I really don't see that happening with testosterone. Look, if you are naturally an aggressive person, using anabolic androgenic steroids might make you more aggressive. But if you are a calm person in general, like me, when I use testosterone, I actually feel even calmer. So, in my opinion, testosterone is generally an amazing compound for enhancing mood and overall sense of well-being. And now, let's talk about testosterone dosages for medical conditions and how it is used among athletes. When testosterone is used for TRT, most people will need anywhere between 100 to 200 milligrams per week to keep them in the natural range. But it really depends on individual response. Some people may need more to stay in the normal range, while others need less. I know that some TRT clinics prescribe higher or lower dosages than this, but here is the thing, if you go above and beyond natural range, that is no longer TRT. And if you start adding other anabolics like masterone, primbolene, or even anavar, let's be honest, that is not TRT anymore. You can call it TRT plus or cruising, But at the end of the day, it is just a small cycle. When it comes to performance enhancement, testosterone dosages vary a lot. In recent years, some people prefer to run low doses of testosterone, around 300 milligrams per week, while running other anabolics at much higher doses. On the other hand, some athletes do the opposite and use testosterone as the base of the cycle and run it at high doses. And then there are extreme cases. Some people put their testosterone doses to 2 or even 3 grams per week. Even Nasser Sombati, one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time, who is unfortunately no longer with us, he mentioned in a podcast that he ran 5 grams of testosterone alone, plus other anabolics. But in general, the most common testosterone dose among athletes range from 300 milligrams to 1,500 milligrams per week. So, when should testosterone be used? Testosterone should always be used in every cycle, whether it's a cutting cycle or bulking cycle. It should always be present to maintain proper hormonal function. During cutting cycles, testosterone is typically used at lower doses to help control water retention and reduce estrogen conversion. Also, testosterone can be used alone without any other anabolics, and you can still achieve great results. That is why it is the best option for beginners running their first cycle. I can argue that testosterone is actually the safest anabolic androgenic steroid, even safer than Anavar or Primobolan, because you can run testosterone for life as TRT, but you can never run Anavar or Primobolan alone for a long periods without serious side effects. Testosterone is also bioidentical, which means your body is already produces it, and your body needs it for proper function. So, whether you are doing TRT or using it for performance enhancement, testosterone remains the foundation. And now, let's move on to the availability and supply of testosterone. Testosterone is widely available worldwide as a pharmaceutical drug, and of course, it is also produced by underground labs. It comes in many forms like gels, creams, and pellets, but the most commonly used form is the injection version. You will usually find testosterone propionate, commonly dosed at 100 milligrams per milliliter, testosterone propionate, commonly dosed at 200 milligrams per milliliter, testosterone enanthate and Sustanon 250, commonly dosed at 250 milligrams per milliliter. You will also find testosterone under different brand names in the market, like Testoviron, Testosterone, Testobolin. These are just brand names, but the compound itself remains the same, testosterone. If you found value in this video, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the upcoming videos. For online coaching and consultations, please check out my website. I will leave the link in the description below. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.